I'll teach y'all how to use Axiom Pro 49 real quick for the people that still don't know how to use this thing. So what you have to do is you have to touch a parameter, modulate it, then you go over here and you're gonna hit edit. And you're gonna go over here and go to number 2, which is control on the list. Go to 2, it brings up that encoder. Now when that encoder comes up, the first thing is listed is the name. Encoder 5 is the name. You can edit this name by hitting the edit button. By hitting the soft key, edit, soft key. So that edit button, that edit word down there is for this soft key. So you hit edit and then you would be able to change the name. But you can go back. So we can go back to edit. And this time we're gonna go down. You see there's down arrows and up arrows. So you just go down and here's all the MIDI controller parameters that you can change the types for the Axiom Pro 49. So this one is a MIDI CC rotary encoder, but you can change it to pitch bend range. You can change it to channel fine tune, channel coarse, channel tune, channel pressure, RPN coarse, RPN fine, NRPN coarse, NRPN fine, master volume, master pan, coarse tune, fine tune, coarse moderate, coarse mod depth, feedback, send the reverb. Hold up, I went send a reverb, pitch bend, keyboard velocity, pad velocity, program change. So you can use your rotary encoders to change programs. Like let's say you got a VSTI open and you want to go to the next preset. You can use that program change button to go to the next preset on a VSTI, or you can use it to do program changes on a MIDI controller that you have hooked up to the Axiom Pro 49. So you can change MIDI channels for other controllers through this controller with that program change button. And you have all these options on here. Just going through the list. That single step, plus or minus, it's very important. And then you have the off button. Let's say you have a rotary encoder that is malfunctioning, or it's repetitively sending MIDI data that you don't want to be sent. You can turn those parameters on all the buttons and all the parameters and sliders and buttons on here. You can turn all these parameters off if you just go into the edit menu and set the type to off. So that's for the rotary encoders. Now, after you do that, you have to go down you have to go, and I want to show you what I was using to scroll down the list. I'm using this rotary encoder number 5. So I'm just turning the knob to the right or left, and that's how you do that. And so this is how you change the channel for that specific rotary encoder. So let's say you want this channel to be on channel 16. You just turn encoder 5. After going down, remember you have to go down. So I went down. This is the down button. It's correlating to this down arrow with this soft key. So if I want to change it from group to channel 16, let's go back. Channel 16. All right, we can have that encoder assigned to channel 16. Or if I want it assigned to zones, because you have 4 zones on the Axiom Pro 49. And that's the zone gap button. You just press that button and you can select the zone. Or you want it on a global channel. So you want everything to be on the same channel. And the global channel is set in the preferences. I'm going to show you that after I finish doing this. So we're gonna go back to MIDI CC. You got group, you got global, and you got regular channels. I can't even remember what channel I was on. I'm gonna put it on global because I don't remember what channel I had it on. All right, so actually I'm just gonna exit, because if you exit and you don't hit enter, it won't save. So just hit exit. Oh yeah, when you get down here to CC, that's the CC, the MIDI CC value that you want to assign to that parameter. So you can go up with that same E5 rotary encoder and change it. It was on 10, so you have 127 CC values, so you get to go all the way up to 127. As far as that entry deck right there, that's just based on the type of code that you want it to be sent. Like you can have hex data, or you can have deck code. So let's see, entry. Let's say you want hex. You got hex. I turned it with the knob and it turned. So you got hex and you got deck. All right, so now I'm gonna exit. I'm not gonna save this, but when you wanna change a parameter, you need to hit the enter key to save it. And then you can exit. All right, so that's that. Now let's say, let me show you some tips. All right, one thing you need to know is that if you're trying to change MIDI channels very quickly, let's say you have plus and minus buttons. So I'm gonna tap this button, then I'm gonna hit the edit button. Then I'm gonna go to number two on the number pad over there. And I'm gonna go down. It says keypad plus. All right, so I'm gonna show you that you can change this type to global parameter set. And what that does is give you the ability to go through MIDI channels. Like right now, I got it set to global parameter set octave for global parameter set. But you could change that to transpose or MIDI channel. So that's how you change the channels. If you want to change positively, you need to put the positive one on there. So let me go back up. That's global parameter set. You also can use MIDI CC value plus or MIDI CC value minus. But this is, I was trying to change it to this. So global parameter plus. This is what you want. Global parameter plus. That and then you would hit enter. And then now with the plus button, I would always be able to change the MIDI channel. Once I hit enter and exit it out, this would just keep changing the MIDI channel, going in a positive incremental value. So that's that part. And then I would do the next for the minus. I would hit minus, and I would hit number 2, and I would change the type to global parameter set minus. And then I would have it set to channel down there at the bottom. And then I would hit enter, and then I would exit. All right, so that's how you do that. Now, some other things you need to notice. If you're trying to work with zones, you got your zones. This is the zones right here. So you just press the zone gap button, and you got 4 zones. Now, how do you assign those zones to different channels? You go to edit, and you're gonna hit 1. I'm sorry, hold on. If I can remember this. So for the zones, go to edit, and you go to 4, number 4, zones. All right, so then zone 1, you're gonna hit the data button. And then you can set zone 1 to a channel from there. Let's say you want zone 1 to be on channel 1. Then you would go back. Then you would go down. Let's say you want zone 2 on channel 2. Okay, it's already there. We're gonna go back. And keep in mind, you can set the octaves too. So let's say you have certain notes that you want to be that you want to be played of a certain pitch. You can change the octave of those zones. All right, so we're gonna go to the data button, and that one's on channel 3 already. So we go back and we go to zone 4. Hit the down button, the data button. Zone 4 is on channel 4. All right, we go back. We're gonna exit out of there. So that's how you set your zones up. Now, how you another way to do things is hit the edit key and go to the global settings, and you can change the channel of the global channel that way. Let's say you want to change the global channel, you just hit the edit button on the fly. And then you hit number 1. You hit the edit button, then you hit number 1. So global channels on number 1. I like to keep my media on number 1 on everything, because in Reaper you can keep omni tracks, and it's perfect for that. So you don't have to worry about all those MIDI tracks and everything, which is perfect. And tracks played on their own without clashing with other tracks, even though they're on the same MIDI channel, which is perfect. So you can change the octave, the transpose, the velocity curve. This is how you change the velocity curve of the entire keyboard. By the way, you got to go to, so you would hit edit, then you would hit number 1, and then you would go down, and then you can go down the list and change the different types of velocity curves for the Axiom Pro keys. And you have lots of options. You can even set a parameter to a fixed control and set that parameter to the velocity curve, and just literally go up and down with that modulator, with that parameter, and quickly assign how you want your velocity to sound for those keys. Gonna exit out of there. Let's see what else you need to know. The other thing about the Axiom Pro 49 and why it's a secret weapon and why it's better than all the other keyboards that are out right now, even though this keyboard is old as hell. I'm gonna tell you what it is. The AS2 commands. All right, so the last secret weapon of this thing is the fact that you can assign every parameter on here except these and these AS2 commands. So every button except for the soft keys up here. Every button and all these numbers and all these plus or minus buttons and all these transfer buttons and even that button can be assigned AS2 commands. And that's why it's a secret weapon. And the reason why it's a secret weapon is because the secret to the success for this controller is to use at least 4 buttons for Control, Alt, and Shift. You can assign these buttons to Control, Alt, Shift, or Control, Alt plus Shift. And that's what I have assigned to mine. So I have 4 buttons controlling Control for this. For example, this one right here is this 0 is Control for me. This F1 is Alt for me. This button is Shift for me, because I would like to shift through the time in larger segments, or I can just use this to go in by beat, or I can go by bar with using Shift. I hit this instead of using this for loop. I use this for go to the start of time selection. And then I hit this and this, Shift and this. I have that set up as loop, turn loop on or off, because you're rarely gonna press loop. So that's that. And then you can have, with that Shift key, you have twice as many in Reaper you would say actions. So you would have twice as many commands or twice as many programming sections for each note or each button. So for example, I have this button also assigned to Control Alt Shift. It's all in one button, but I can hit that button, hold that button down, and hold play down and do something, and hold stop down and do something, hold forward down and do something else, hold back down and do something else. So you can make this keyboard very powerful very quickly without having to worry about trying to set up some program that somebody else already signed for you. It's better to use this keyboard in your own way and program it to do what you want it to do. It works well with FL Studio too. So you can assign those AS2 commands inside of FL Studio and do a lot of work very quickly in FL Studio too. So that's that. I just want to show you real quickly how you can assign it to a AS2 command. So let's say we would hit this button. We're not doing anything. We're just tapping it to activate that button so it knows this was the last touch parameter. So we just touch that button, then we hit the edit button. Then we go to 2, and when we showed you type earlier, you just go down to type, and you would go through that list until you see AS2 keystroke, and then you would go down, and then you would go down to the list into the list and where it says modifier only. So if I'm to start, I start at A, but if I go to the end of the list, I go to modifier only. So I went back to the left. I didn't go to the right. I went back to the left. You're going to usually turn to the right to go down the list of keys. But if you go to the left and go to the end of the list, modifier only is on there. And so you would set modify only, and that up arrow means shift. This is control and shift. So let's say you want to assign a parameter to control and shift. You would have that button assigned to control and shift only. It wouldn't be a actual shortcut. It would just be control and shift. And what you could do is use that one button plus other buttons that have other letters. And now those buttons, for example, if the letter was O on this button for P, if the letter was O, you would have control shift O. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the secret weapon to the Axiom Pro 49. All right, and once again, you can have 3 or 4 different banks of options for these 12 buttons. So that's something to think about. You know, this keyboard is old, but it's definitely kicking ass right now, because a lot of those newer keyboards can't do this stuff. They have the chord progressions and all that stuff and the note repeat and all that stuff, but they don't have buttons. That's what they're lacking. They're lacking buttons. So you need to be able to have buttons to get more done with MIDI. And so that's why this controller is still powerful. Don't sleep on it. It's got game. But that concludes this video. Y'all peep game. Go try to find you one if you can. Axiom Pro 49. Still classic.